It's going to be an interesting day. Will Brucey be in charge? Will Harry hit the back of the net? There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, there is so much to talk about, and I hope Brucey is in charge. I put my cards on the table fairly early because I think it will be a landmark 1000th game for him. I think he deserves that, whatever has happened. I think he deserves the opportunity to celebrate a really important landmark for his career. And I don't really see what you achieve by firing the guy whose job it has been to prepare for Sunday's game 2 days before Sunday's game. So I hope he does get the chance to take charge on Sunday, forgetting about what's happened. And I hope Harry Kane does manage to find the net as well. Just to give you a couple of stats, the last 2 games between these two clubs ended up as draws, scoring draws, 2-2 and 1-1. And also, for all of the concern around Harry Kane, and he's been talking himself in the Daily Mirror about it, Kane have been substandard as a headline. I think it's important to remember that he's scored 9 goals so far this season, and it's the first time in 15 qualifiers that he hasn't scored for England. So we know the quality is there. He'll score. He'll be fine.
And good news for Leicester fans, Darren. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers coming out and saying, well, no, I'm not interested in Newcastle, because he was the red-hot favourite to maybe get the job at Newcastle. But now he's said, no, I'm staying at Leicester City.
Yeah, and rightly so. They've got a fantastic setup there. They're not short of a few bob themselves, I've got to say. And I think they've got a wonderful squad, wonderful team. They have got a team that has competed for the Champions League in each of the last 2 seasons. They've been unlucky with injuries, a couple of suspensions here or there, but he has got a real serious project there, and you don't just walk away from that easily. So I'm glad he's shown his commitment and ended the uncertainty, because as you both have worked in football, you know, sometimes managers can allow the uncertainty to go on. Maybe there's a new contract in it for them. Maybe there's a bit of leverage that they can hold the club that they are at to when that speculation starts. But he's knocked it on the head very early so that they can move on.
Who do you think will get it then? Are we talking about a Lampard or Gerrard, or are we talking about a foreign manager coming in? Or what about a Roberto Martinez? Is he taking Belgium as far as he can?
Well, if I just widen it out for a second, I think I think for me, it's not really about the manager himself. I think the 3 most important signings they can make are going to shape the direction of Newcastle Football Club. The head of recruitment, sporting director, whatever you want to call them, because that person has to be somebody well connected. Somebody's going to bring in players that aren't maybe past their best, but players that are hungry and ready to be committed to what the club want to do, but have the high caliber, that's the status that is going to attract other players. Then the manager. You ask about who the manager can be. If you bring in, for example, a Conte, then what you're saying is, we mean business. This is a guy who's won the league at Chelsea, he's won the league at Inter Milan. Yes, it requires a lot of money, but he targets high caliber players. I was with Conte when we were on pre-season, the summer after he'd won the league at Chelsea. He'd already signed Morata, and he said, I really, really wanted Kane. And so if you sign a Conte, you think to yourself, he's going to go out and target that calibre of player to bring to Newcastle United. And then, of course, the first signing. Because, again, if you sign somebody who's maybe in their mid-30s, somebody whose best days are behind them, essentially you're kind of saying, you know, we could be here for a nice payday for players who are maybe over the hill. What you want is to bring in young, exciting players so that you can reshape the direction of that club in a different, more exciting mould, rather than more of the same that we've seen at other clubs that have come into big money and haven't necessarily used it very well.
Darren, how do you feel about one of the papers today was talking about again that, you know, the Premier League are still, some of the owners, chairman are still very angry the way this deal's pushed through from the Saudi consortium. Have we had the end of that? It's done and dusted now?
No, I don't think we've heard the end of that at all. I mean, what I would have liked to have seen is some of these chairmen who are so angry go on the record. You know, if it means that much to you, why are you remaining anonymous? Come out and speak, because lots of journalists are actually standing up to be counted on this and saying, look, let me just predicate what I'm about to say by saying this. it is not Newcastle's fans' fault at all. I know a lot of Newcastle fans have been criticised over this, but they have zero power in the decision-making process over this. They have been, as we've talked about, written about, watched, seen, heard, they are hugely committed to their football club. So you can't really criticise them too much over this. But I think everybody knows the whole background to this story. And I think we have to retain that awareness, and we have to kind of temper all the excitement with the reality that surrounds this, because if we don't, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. I think we can't just have situations where the questions that surround this takeover are allowed to fade away. I don't think they'll be allowed to fade away, because there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of work to continue. For example, there is a claim that there is a distinction between the Saudi state and the organisation that has taken over at Newcastle. But lots of people have been able to establish already that there are individuals with a hand in both. And so they are questions that are going to continue to linger until the Premier League and the people who have taken over Newcastle are able to assure people and make clear that that's not the case. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
Darren, just going back to the weekend's games again, I'm really looking forward to this one. Leicester v Manchester United. And Manchester United, a couple of injury problems. Yeah, Varane and Maguire's going to be out. The two centre-halves. And Jamie Vardy's in good form at the moment. So this could be a very good game.
You've just given us the equation there, because I remember talking to Darren Bent at the start of this season, back end of last season. He was saying to me, when you're a striker and you're playing against two centre-halves, what you don't like is when they've got a good communication between each other. And he was telling me the story of when he used to play against Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic, and they talked to each other all game. And he said, I went on to Vida and I couldn't get anything out of him. I went on to Rio and they were just talking to each other all game, because they've got that cohesion between them. How often do Bailly and Lindelof play with each other? How good is their cohesion? Not great. They've conceded in each of their last 9 home Premier League games. That's their worst run for 50 years. And the team themselves, they are so porous at the back. They've got a real lack of communication. I think someone like Jamie Vardy is going to get a lot of change out of that Manchester United backline this weekend, and I think it could increase the pressure, sadly, on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
But as well, Dan, and just have a look, you're probably well aware of it, I wasn't till this morning, our game day, Watford against Liverpool. Have a look at Watford's next 8 games. Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. They need to win this one, because they've got some real belters coming up. Claudio Ranieri in good form yesterday and saying, look, the task at the moment is to get 40 points. That's it. And they are obviously hoping that they do get a bounce, a bit of feel-good factor from him being there, because things had deteriorated under his predecessor. But they're going to have to get off to a flyer against the Liverpool side, who are flying themselves. Remember that game against Manchester City just before the international break, and just how good Salah was in front of goal. I can't see Watford keeping him, Mane, Firmino. I can't see them keeping them out. It's going to be a fascinating encounter, but I fear a difficult first game at the office for Ranieri.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.